The mission to Europa is targeted to launch from Earth around 2025, and the concept is to send a lander that will land on the surface of Europa and collect near subsurface samples, maybe the top 10 centimeters down. And the idea is that this lander will follow a supported mission right now called the Europa Clipper mission, which is going to leave Earth around 2022. And it will be a flyby mission where 42 flyby, it will observe Europa remotely by passing by 42 times. So the idea is to send a lander after we collect the data that will arrive after the data will be collected from the remote sensing mission to really maximize the information gained from these two. So we can kind of use that for surveillance, remote sensing, detecting remotely where signs of life and habitable areas of Europa might be. And then you could send a lander based on the reconnaissance data that would land a few years after. I was invited by NASA to be one of 3 co-chairs of a team that had 18 other scientists on it that really spanned a diversity from astrophysics knowledge to working on the surface of Mars to life detection and icy conditions on Earth. And so the expertise was very broad amongst this team. And we basically guided this team to come up with the science objectives and investigations that this lander could do to best address goals that were really handed to us by NASA. The Europa lander mission is the first mission that NASA has sent to space since the Viking missions of the mid-1970s to really specifically look for signs of life. So since Viking was sent to Mars, and two Viking landers landed successfully, and their specific goal was, and this was the first landed mission to Mars, their specific goal was to really look for life. But the technologies and the concepts of that have really matured since then. And so now that we're moving beyond Mars to the outer solar system, one of the most exciting parts of the outer solar system is that we have different kinds of bodies that have liquid water or liquid organics on their surfaces. And we think that this is one of the key ingredients for life, and that so the concept is really renewed invigoration for really looking for signs of life. The Europa lander science definition team spent a lot of time deliberating what are the most valuable sort of bioindicators of life, what are the most robust ones, what are those that are agnostic in terms of not being specifically biased towards life that we recognize here on Earth. And we had the first goal that we've targeted and that our report was based on was detecting signs of life, and we had categories of organic indicators of life, morphological indicators of life, either microscale or macroscale, inorganic indicators of life, and that all 3 of those categories are really envisioned within the provenance or the framework of what the surface environment is like. I brought a skill set to the team that was different from a lot of them, being a person who studies life in extreme environments and life in cold ecosystems on Earth. We could sort of use the information and my experience of working in the Antarctic in icy lakes that are sub-zero lakes where we still have liquid brines that are really salty enough so that they remain liquid well below 0 degrees Celsius. So my experience in working in ice and cold oceans of Antarctica and working in the brine lakes of the McMurdo Dry Valleys sort of has prepared me to think about how life can live in the super cold and isolated ecosystems. Our work in Lake Vida in this regard was really quite relevant. Currently, the mission is in the sort of status of mission concept, And after we delivered this Europa lander report to NASA, and we have been on the road communicating this report to the scientific community to get feedback on it. NASA is currently doing a mission architecture study to see if they can reduce the cost of the mission and preserve the science as the science definition team recommended. And so that study is ongoing, and we think that once that is finished, that then they will have a revised announcement of opportunity for teams to form proposals for Europa lander instruments. And so kind of the scientific community is very much anticipating that this announcement will come out probably it's the top secret, I don't know, the beginning of the new year. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of this mission with you. There's you can read the Europa lander report online. If you just search for Science Definition Team Europa lander mission, you'll find our report available online. It's good coffee table reading, and thanks for coming to Science Distilled.